What's up, y'all? This your boy Dwight Howard, a.k.a. Superman, and this is Above the Rim. We hyped today, y'all. We got a special guest, but before we get started, I need y'all to pull out y'all phones, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment to let me know who you want on the episode next. And y'all know how we do it. We don't hear no evil. We don't see no evil. And
We
what?
don't speak
We
no
don't speak
evil.
no evil. We got a crazy episode for y'all today, y'all. Oh my God. If you want to take the last shot, if you down in a big game, it don't matter if you're on the court or off the court. We got somebody who taking all the shots.
Hey, some people got rings.
Some people got rings.
Some
and
people
then
got more rings than when you
Man, he
don't
got
answer
more
your phone, man.
Man, listen, he got more rings than everybody in Phoenix right now.
Oh my goodness, don't mention that.
Give it up, y'all, for Robert Big Shot Bob Horry! Oh man, listen, you guys, I'm so happy to have Big Shot Rob on the show. I'm gonna tell you why, man. I've been watching him since I was a little jit. I was a little kid watching him way back in the day, way back in Houston. And I played with him on the video games back in Alabama with Latrell Sprewell. Oh my God, this is crazy to have him on the show, man. Thank you so much for being here with us, man.
My pleasure, man. Big fan of yours too, man. You don't even know this. So back in 2009, when y'all went to the NBA Finals, I called them up. I was like, yo, man, I'd be perfect for y'all team. And they weren't interested.
With the Magic?
I called the Magic up, and I was like, and I told us, you know what, I win every other year. If I come to you guys, y'all gonna win this year.
Hey, look, you would
So
have
you didn't
had
know
two
this,
rings,
yeah.
y'all. He
I
would
would
have
have
had
had 2 rings. Oh, that's
because
crazy.
it was you know, because me and Rashard had the same agent at the time, but by the time that happened, I had fired my agent, and I was just had my representatives to call. It was like, no, we already got our roster set, but thanks for the inquiry. I'm like, okay. So I just went ahead and laid it down. I was old then, so y'all probably didn't need me anyway.
But no, just to have your presence on the team, I think that would have been so good for us because we did have a mix of vets and youngins.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
And that's what kind of kept us in line because we had some vets that maybe didn't have the name per se, but they had the actual confidence to really like, hey, White, you need to step up. We need you to, and that's what pushed me. So I was really big on having vets on the team because they kept us in check. So it would have been awesome having you on the team, man. That would have been great.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because so many people don't realize vets bring something to a team that people might not even understand. Yeah. It's not even just the leadership, it's the voice because you don't know how many times I've sat down with Shaq, Kobe, Dream, Tim, and just had a conversation that can bring you back into the moment because so many times you don't know what's going on in a person's personal life, what's on the court, frustration. You have that voice of reason, someone they can rely on. Just sit there and be like, okay, man, this basketball is real, but life is real. And they bring you back onto that even playing field where you can do what you need to do to succeed. So, yeah.
How did you get to that level? Because it's like, it seemed like you've been Big Shot your whole life, like all straight from Alabama. Like, how did you, like growing up, how did that get to you?
I think for me, it was all the things that happened in my life. I had a conversation with my best friend. I was a junior. I was in ROTC. It's gonna be funny. We were sitting there and we were talking. He's like, man, I'm upset, man. I'm like, why? He said, man, things in my life. And I said, man, you all right, man. He said, man, I think about killing myself. I was like, man, don't do that. I said, let me go put this flag up and come back. And as I was walking, I heard a gunshot and, he's killed himself. And it's like from that moment on, I had like, your voice. You don't know what you can tell a person to change their mind about stuff like that, and then, when I got in college, I was, helping this kid out with Down syndrome and he loved me. He just, nobody could make him do what he needed to do other than me. And then you realize your voice is powerful and everybody view you a different way. And so I just felt like, have a conversation with someone to get to know that person and not just keep it like superficial because you know us, we can talk basketball all the time, but that's superficial.
We don't want to talk
basketball. I want to know how your kids doing, how your mom doing, what's going on in your world and make you who you are. And I think that was the one thing that I've always been about because I want to know you as a person. That way I can understand what can get you hype
Yeah.
and what can calm you down. So yeah.
That's a real sign of a great teammate. Magic, what happened? No. But no, that's awesome to hear because like I think what you said is key. Like in order to be an awesome teammate, in order to be an awesome leader, a follower, a big shot taker, you gotta have that mindset of don't give up. I believe, all these different things, and it seemed like you've had that, and you said that moment from when you was with your friend, that's what kind of opened it up for you.
Correct.
So you played basketball your whole life. How did basketball start for you?
My brother.
Your brother.
My brother. I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say I was terrible at basketball, man. I was a big, tall, clumsy kid, and so you tripping over your big feet. People would call you giraffe, and you was kind of shy about your size. Not in this day and age, people want to be tall. Back then, you always somebody tall, you just kind of shrunk over so you can be the same size as people. Then I just played baseball. When you play baseball, I was a pitcher, so you just step and throw. And then I kept growing, and my brother was like, man, you need to start playing basketball. And I just started playing, and then next thing you know, my competitive nature, hate the fact that I wasn't getting picked up. Like, you're in the playground, and the best player always like captain. I got you, and then like, you wasn't getting picked up. Nah, you suck, man. And think about it, how many times like, you suck, you got, and it pisses you off. Yeah. Especially when a kid that's younger than you is getting picked before you. Like, So I just would go to the park, and the crazy thing about it, I would go to the park every day trying to get better because I would leave school, go home, do my homework, and go to the park. I had that window before the big kids got there where you can just
go play.
Yeah. And then the big kids come, you like all ready to play, like and then I would just get upset and go home and ride my go-kart. But eventually, I got better. I got good enough where I was the guy picking everybody. And crazy part about it is that park is actually named after me now.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's fire.
Yeah. I wanted to ask this because we had DeMarcus on. He had a similar story. He said he didn't grow up playing basketball either, but he was always tall. In Alabama, he said it's not a lot of influence. So was there any locals that you had to look up to or anybody?
I pretty much looked up to my parents, man. My mom was a teacher. My dad was in the military, army, and that's who I looked up to. And my dad was always saying, be disciplined. My mom was always saying, outsmart people, outthink people. He says, you might not be as talented as people, but you can always outthink them. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that I would do. But I always had this guy, his name was Dexter Daniels. He was the one guy that was like always there for me. Like, yo, man, come to the park. We're gonna work on it. He was just that. When some people can see something that you don't know you can see in yourself, and I think he saw something in me. And I don't know if it was the fact that I was dating his sister, but he saw something in me. But
I gotta keep my eye on him. I can keep him in the gym.
Yeah, he kept me in the park. We were always hooping, and I remember the first time when I got named the Player of the Year. He was deployed, and then he called me like at 3 a.m. He's like, "Yo, man, congratulations!" I'm like, "Man, what the hell, man?" It's like 3 a.m, and he's like, "I'm like, who is this?" He's like, "Man, it's Dexter, man. I just want to call you, man. I want to ship out, and in the middle of the like, you use your one phone call to call me." Yeah, man, that's a big privilege, man. You the Player of the Year, man. I just want to say thank. I said, "No, man, thank you, man, for always having me in the park."
Yeah.
Always, man, saying that ain't good enough, and I was really blessed, and I grew up in a small town, so I had so many people saying, "No, you keep you on the right path." I had teachers saying, "No, this is not going to work. This is not good enough." And it used to frustrate me because I'm like, now I look at some of the other stuff and like, man, I'm better than theirs.
Yeah,
but they're like, no, you got to be better. They wanted more. And when they talk about it takes a village, it really takes a village, and it's more prevalent in a small town than any place. So I love the fact that I'm from a small town.
It's like a small town or like a small school. In my instance, I went to a very small school, so like because of that, everybody was on me, you know, and I really accepted it at a young age. At first it was getting to me because I was like, man, I can't do nothing, man. Like everybody get to do everything. They get in trouble, like. I done seen them steal everything, but it's like if I do it, the consequences are like times 10. Yeah. So I just realized then, okay, maybe I'm supposed to be an example. You know what I'm saying? So being from that small school,
street light kid?
Yeah.
When street lights come on, you had to be in the house.
See, where we lived at, we couldn't go. We could only go up and down my street. We couldn't even go. Our street was a horseshoe. We couldn't even go around the horseshoe unless we was on our bike. And they didn't want us to go on the main street. We couldn't go we couldn't even walk down the street to get food. It was so bad. So we were so sheltered, like we couldn't go anywhere. And it was a good thing because it made me just super laser focused on basketball. Like that's all I was, even though I played baseball, I ran track, I did football, I played tennis, I did ping pong. Like I tried every sport. I tried every single sport. Like I went and studied it. Like I went and learned and did research on tennis. Like all the best players. Like because I was like, okay, I want to be good at tennis.
I played tennis too. I wasn't very good, but I love playing it.
I just tried. Like I felt like all that did was help me with basketball. Help me with my level of focus for basketball. So, like, did you do track? Like, did you do any of that stuff too?
I didn't do track. Thank you. I didn't do track, but because I had some guys on my team that ran track, a couple of guards, and when I talk about fast, hey, you know your role. You know you know what you're good at, what you're not good at. I'm like, nah, I'm good on track. I stay in the baseball field and then on the basketball court. But other than that, I didn't really play any sports because my mom was like, in Alabama, you got 3 sports: football, basketball, baseball. And she said you can play 2 of them, and one of them ain't football. So
wow. I can understand that. My mom was the same.
I was too frail. I graduated high school. I was 6'8", 195.
You weigh more than me.
So I couldn't.
Dang.
I was like, no, she wouldn't put me on that football field. No.
That's crazy.
So my dad made me play. My mama didn't want me to play football. She wouldn't come to the game, but then after she started seeing me play, she came. But she was yelling at me for saying I was hitting people too hard. And I was like, what? Like I hit somebody. She's like, Dwight, what are you doing? I said, Mom, this is football. So I stuck with basketball, but that football was just, I think it kind of made the toughness for me because I was able to understand I could take a hit. In basketball, I could take a hit and keep playing and stuff like that. Did you always play like center? Like, was you a shooter?
Position.
Like, what was your position?
You know, my high school coach, I love him to death. He was like, his philosophy: if you can't beat someone one-on-one, you can't play basketball. So he was not big on positions. He was like that. Whatever you're good at, we're gonna focus on that. You know, if you can shoot it, you can shoot it. You know, well, I didn't get a 3-point line until my senior year in high school. And I show you how old I am in Alabama. That's just how it was.
Hold up, it wasn't a 3-point line.
It was no 3-point line in Alabama until 1988. 1987.
I was 3 years old when they first got a 3-point line.
Yeah, that was in Alabama. But you know, we would go down the Florida line and play teams. You know, we played against Tom Hammonds in high school. We played against out of Mississippi, Chris Jackson, Mahmoud, and we played Dave Johnson. We played in all these tournaments because my high school coach was like, oh, I got a good player. We gonna go around the country. Everywhere we went, I got our asses whooped. He would we were going to all these places, man. I'm like, okay, we go to this tournament. We win that first game, but the first game is always some little chump team. Yeah. And the next day, man, I remember we played. I don't know if you remember Dave Johnson. He played in Syracuse, and then
Dave Johnson.
Yeah, he played at Syracuse. Like he then got drafted by Portland. He was way before your time. Yeah. And so we played their team, and this is the first time I ever got beat by 40. So we were playing their team, and okay, we getting beat by 10. And then the second, he subbed, like mass sub, next 5 guys, and like, okay, we come back. The next 5 guys was way better. They had got in trouble for something, so they didn't start. So they came out, and I was like, it's like being attacked by bees. We're like, what the hell? Like, what the fuck? Man, I'm like, shit. Man, they beat the freaking brakes off us. I was like, man. But the thing about that was, I said, I got to get better. Because my whole philosophy was, I know what I'm working with here. So in order for me to get better, I got to do this and that to make them better. And by the time we were a senior, we were a pretty good team until we went up against this one team. We lost in the state playoffs because their average height was 6'9". Damn. You take me off the team, my average height was 6'3". I mean, so we got beat again. But the crazy part about that, this is the most memorable thing that probably has ever happened in my career. After that game, I'm crying. I think this is the only time I ever cried after a game. I'm crying, and then this guy who was a junior comes up to me. His name is James Fagan. He says, "Man, I just want to say thank you." I said, "This has been the most fun I ever had playing the basketball because of you." I said, "I want you to take." He says, "If it wasn't for you, I would have quit basketball a long time ago." You think about this is a junior in high school. He comes to me and tells me that, and I'm sitting crying. And it made me feel better. You know, I talked about words can always help you.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, I just wanted to be, do the best I can to try to help people out on the court. And from him telling me that, made me feel good. It brightened up my day, and from that moment on, I never wanted, I've always just tried to be a great teammate, not a good teammate, a great teammate, because there are a lot of good teammates out there, but it's how many times have you say, "Oh, that was a great teammate." So
let me ask you, like, what type of challenges did you face growing up in the city? You ain't really get into.
Growing up in the South, growing up in Alabama,
Yeah.
I faced a lot of challenges. It's weird because Alabama is one of those places where racism can rear its ugly head. And I did this article about maybe 15, 20 years ago. I was talking about how I was growing up, so it just resurfaced. And everybody's like, "Well, man, it's not really like that." And it's made me feel so proud. My mom said, "Y'all don't know." I said, "Because y'all stick your heads and saying this is true." It's like he couldn't walk down certain streets. He wasn't allowed to make the All-Star team because there was only 3 blacks allowed. It says, y'all don't know all this because you had your heads. Yeah, we only had so many black cheerleaders on the team. And people were like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, because it's if you only know what you know. If they put it out there and they present it a certain way and you said, okay, well, they only did it because they couldn't make it but no, a lot of it had to do with race. So go back to the baseball story. My last year in Little League, I didn't make All-Star team. I led the league in home runs. And didn't make the Little League team.
All-Star?
And I didn't make the All-Star. And because they would only have 3 blacks. And what happened was, if you have the best record, you're supposed to be able to coach the team. Of course, our team was the black team. Because every other team only had 1 black. And I was grandfathered in because my brother was on that team. So we were the black team, had 1 black coach, every other coach was white. And we won the championship. And since he was the coach, his son made it. And so I didn't make it. And we had to play them. You play the All-Star team, and so because you won the league, and so you get them ready to go play. So I said, I'm pitching. You beat the brakes off of that, and my mom is not a cheerleader.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I ever seen her like, "Yeah, baby, that's my baby. You strike him out." And it was like, okay. And it goes to show you that we in the South, black people take so much stuff, and you can't really say anything because you can't, but that the one time after that they cut out the team plan, the best team and all that kind of stuff. And
that's crazy.
And I get a lot of flack lately because of how people on Facebook repost stuff and think it's yesterday, and it's like, and I got a lot of flack like, this didn't happen. I had this one guy even says, "Man, Coach Robinson would have never let that happen." I says, "You can only control what you can control." And I'm like, Coach Robinson was my coach, but this was before I got to Coach Robinson. It was 5 years before I got to him. So it just was. But it was tough. But it made you smarter. It made you more disciplined, like you said, because I can't do A, B, and C, so I might as well focus on this.
So was you, with your college decision, was you trying to go outside of the? You stayed.
Yeah.
Were you trying to go?
Yeah, I was definitely trying to go. Growing up in Alabama, you got Auburn. And if you talk about them back then, you know anything about basketball program, you think that's the SEC. SEC is like, even though Florida won it last year, you don't think football. I mean basketball, you think football.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm not. My high school team, we were going to state championships. We didn't get a pep rally. We got a pep rally at the beginning of the year, and when we got ready to go to state. Football team was losing. They got pep rallies all the time. So I'm like, man, I love football. But I wanted to go somewhere where they love basketball.
Yeah.
And so my mindset was Georgia Tech, Bobby Crimmins, the Rambling Record, Georgia Tech. That's where I wanted to go, man. I was like, but the only thing was they wouldn't recruit me. And then he recruited me the last second, right? And I was like, because my visits were going to be Wake Forest, Alabama, Auburn, and Florida State. And so my mom, my high school coach said, you only need to take 4. Back then you could take 5 visits, so you're only going to take 4. And I was like, no, I want to go to Georgia Tech now. And Bobby Crimmins started recruiting me at the last minute, but it was a little too late. Alabama had them hooks in my mom, and I wasn't going nowhere but Alabama. So yeah, I wanted to go to Georgia Tech so bad. And so if you actually, in my house, my mom has this picture of my signing day.
Yeah.
It's me in the middle, She's on my right, and my high school coach on my left. I'm basing her pitch like this. I'm
Sad.
mad because I wanted to go to Georgia Tech, and I'm signing with Alabama. So yeah,
That's crazy.
That is
So for someone like Dwight that didn't go to college, tell him how the college
how was
experience
college
is.
experience? I never experienced college. Like, was it? Well, it was probably. Yeah. Well, how was college?
it was the best time of my life. Man.
That's what everybody's saying.
I know it's a lot of kids want to get to be an adults early and get the money. I ain't mad at it, but one of the things that college teaches you, it teaches you how to communicate with people. It teaches you, self-discipline, because you think as athletes, we privileged to a lot of things. We never gonna go hungry, because even if you're hungry, you can walk into a restaurant. Oh shit, Dwight Howard. No, I got that. It's so many things like happen in college, but if you one of those guys who are not, highly recruited, not high on the radar, you got to learn how to dig. I mean, we were at a football school. Man, we going around trying to figure out how we gonna eat. We trying to figure out what favors we need to do so we can eat for free. Man, we found this one guy. He says, man, okay, man, you just come by and say hi to some kids. Dinner's on me, man. We go and do clinics outside playing with kids just to eat,
That's smart.
Yeah, and then you develop those relationships, and next thing you know, you get a little bit more status, and then you start figuring out how to we winning. I got some tickets. What you gonna do for some? You can do the trade, even though we weren't supposed to. I've never had so many white cousins in my life, because you had the only way you could get the tickets out back then is say you're your cousins. You had to be related to. I had so many white cousins because that's how I ate. That's how I got gas. That's how I got different relationships. But I love it.
I never thought about that because, from my point of view, I'm looking at it like, why would I waste time in going to college when this is what I wanted to do was to go to the NBA, and I'm making money doing it. But I didn't realize the part that you said that was big, developing those relationships, developing that self-discipline. Like you have to have a level of self-discipline for basketball. But when you're talking about in college, when you can party, do whatever you want, you really have to have self-discipline.
Yeah.
And so I never looked at it from that point of view. That's
Now, you went back to school and got your degree, right?
Correct. Yes.
That was recently.
Yeah, about right when COVID hit. Yeah.
What was that?
It was so weird because when I went back, everything I had. First I went back. I was on a 5-year program when I was out in Alabama. I had no idea I was going to go pro. I said, okay, I want to make sure I get each class done right. I wanted good grades because one thing that I always took pride in was my IQ when it comes to basketball, my knowledge when it comes to schoolwork, because I heard people told me I was player of the year in the state of Alabama, but also the academic player of the year. That kind of gets not talked about, and so for me that was one of the biggest things for me. Going to Boys State in Alabama is where they take the top kids in your school, and you go learn about government. I never want to be a part of anything close to government, but you just did it because I wanted to show, look, hey, I'm an athlete and I'm smart. Mm-hmm. And so that was the thing that I wanted to do. But for the most part, everything that I did as far as growing up and learning kind of came into play when I was finishing my degree, because they was talking about buying a home. Oh, shit, I already did that. Then they was talking about how do you handle your finances. Oh, talking about life experiences. Oh, I've had a hell of a lot of those. So I was able to write and and pull on those life experiences, because it had this one financial thing where it was talking about when you buy a house and all this kind of stuff. Oh, I already did that shit. You have to live through those things, and they say the best teacher in life is experiences, and I experienced all this stuff. So when I went to do this stuff, to finish my degree, I'm like, shit, I already did all this stuff. And it was weird because you think about so many kids are having to learn this and dive into it because they don't have the finances. I already had the finances, so it was easy to do this stuff and learn it because I didn't have to struggle. Okay, where am I going to get this money from to pay for my rent? Where am I going to, I had to save over here for the taxes. It's so many things like that I had learned, because I was pretty much privileged, in the sense that these experiences were taught me, because that's one of the things that I always took pride in. Like, my account had, I still have the same account for like 40 years. Like, we had to sit down one time. He was like, and I was going over the paperwork with him. He's like, oh, you went over that? I'm like, yeah. Because I would sit down and go over every line. When I say this, don't laugh at me. I had on, why am I paying for a fax? He's like, well, we fax. I said, no, I ain't paying for no fucking faxes. No. I had a conversation with you. I ain't paying for no conversation. Well, I said, we talked about my stuff, but we also talked about my life. You ain't my head psychologist, so we know. And so he was looking at me like, and so there's all these things that I was like, you're not gonna charge me with this, this, and this. And that kind of made us close because he said, nobody's ever done this before. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm not gonna just give you my money. I'm like, there's so many athletes, they don't check their finances because they trust. I love Wayne to death and I trust him, but I'm gonna check his ass because this is my life. This is my kids' future, and maybe my grandkids. So that's one of the things that I've learned, and it all that went into my finishing my degree. So I know I went around the world to get there, but yeah, but the main reason, and I'm gonna be honest, is I got my degree is because my son at the time, Christian, who was at UCLA, if I ever wanted to coach, you had to have a degree. And so he was the main reason I did that because I might want to coach. I don't want to coach anymore. Back then I wanted to coach, so I wanted to be a part of his life as much as I could.
That's why they say the journey. That's why they say the journey. You never know where it's going to take you. That's your degree.
That is crazy.
I was going to say it's big controversy about now players, right, can go back to college if they have eligibility. I think it's good because more players is going to get, finish their degrees and stuff, but a lot of people saying it's ruining college basketball. What do you think?
With Bendico, whatever his name is at Alabama, he tried that. And my whole thing is you have to live with your decisions. If you decide to come out and you fail, don't try to, I'm all about giving a second chance, but this is about the next generation. You know how the sports are. It's the next man waiting.
Yeah, it's quick.
And for me, these college coaches don't have the balls to tell the player, you ain't ready yet. Because they always want to they're trying to be guys' friends. I'm like, and then, guys now, if you tell them that, oh, you hating. That's the word I hate using. Oh, you hate. I said, no, I'm trying to give you I'm not hating, I'm trying to help you. And so now you look at all these guys now, they leave early, and they need to have a documentary on the G League life. How they need to talk about G League life and thinking oh, you ain't in the NBA where you got private planes. Oh, no, it ain't the same. And these guys trying to get there,
I used to think that, and I don't want to be controversial towards it, but I just
it's okay.
I never thought that the G League was. I felt like it was a false promise for a lot of players. Like, they're trying so hard to make it to the NBA, but it's already roster spots filled. It's already contracts filled. So it's like, why are they really doing this? Like, I feel like they're going so hard and it ain't gonna help them,
And, I feel the way, if this was me, and people get mad because I don't mind when people say I'm being a controversial hater. I would scrap the whole G League. And what I mean by that, I would scrap it and use that money used on G League and develop academies like do overseas. You think about the league now. All these foreign players, they come in ready. They fundamentally sound. They have, you think about, it's like, if you say top 5 players in the NBA right now.
Yeah, overseas.
None of them from here. Because they came in fundamentally ready.
Yes.
And for me, you think you take the G League, let's be honest. If you're 32 in the G League, you ain't getting to the next level.
You're not gonna make it to the NBA.
Use that money you have and invest in something, do something, that. And I know basketball is your dream. And I ain't trying to be a hater. I'm not trying to, piss on your dreams.
Being realistic.
But, and for the sake of American basketball, they could take that money and open up academies. You think about now. You look at the top freshmen in college, maybe outside of the boozers. They're all 20 years old. I was a junior in college at 20 years old. Yes. You holding kids 18, back in high school. 20, you can use that money now. Take that money used for G League. Have academies. You put these kids in academies for like maybe two years, because now you don't have to hold kids back. 2 years. You use that money to teach them about finances, about what you have these.
That's similar to.
Yeah. Think about all those.
I was talking about just having a facility like that for. So my thing wasn't just for basketball players. It was like when kids turn 18, they usually get shipped off to college or to some military or somewhere in the workforce, and they're really not truly ready. I feel like at that age, 18 to 19, almost 20, they still trying to figure so much out because they just had those 12 years of schooling where they was trying so hard to learn all this stuff. listen to their parents, do this, do all these different things that they don't have a chance to know who they are.
Yeah.
You know, and now when they're 18, 19, 20, they're away from home. They're out that environment, so they need a place to go to where they can learn about finances, learn about themselves. So now when 21 come, because that's when they say you're legal now.
Yeah.
So why not have a place where these kids go from 18 to 20? So by the time they're legal,
Yes.
they really ready for the world,
Yeah.
because we really doing a disservice to the basketball players, to these collegiate athletes, to really this youth in America, because they have no real plan and purpose. You know, they just, you know, so it's crazy you said that, because I was like, man, I got ridiculed for saying we need more structure and discipline in America.
We do, you know, and so I'm totally with you. You think about, I remember, you know, when I first heard of prep school, I, you know, grew up in Alabama, you ain't heard anything about prep schools, and then I heard of prep schools, I ran into a couple of guys, and they were more mature than me at my age because they had went to prep schools. And I don't know what prep school they went to, but some of these prep schools are like academies.
Yes.
They're really disciplined.
He went to a prep school.
I went to a prep school for 1 year, right? And I've been to a tech school, a public school, and a prep school, and it's I'm in class, you know, freshmen are getting to learn what I'm learning at that age, and they preparing you, you know, with the exercise and training. You got to be up 6 a.m. and train every student, not just the athletes. And then I'm like, damn, we had to write a paper one day, and the author, I forget the name of the author, but he said, he spoke at Choate. It's like a big prep school in Connecticut or something, and he said, if kids were taught to think creatively, places like this wouldn't exist. Because they want the prep school to be for the elites. Because how much a prep school costs? My prep school was $60,000 a year. I got a scholarship to hoop. But if I don't got a scholarship, it's only famous people, rich people.
My son went to a high school called Harvard Westlake in LA. Top 3 school in the country academically.
Oh, so you know.
And you know, you meet a lot of, like, you walk through, there's like, you know, everybody knows about Sierra Canyon. Because all the stars. But it's not an academic school. And people, it's a star school. You know, Harvard. It's weird because everybody who goes to Sierra Canyon, their boss's kids go to Harvard Westlake. So, you know, it's like, you think about that because, you're an actor, but I'm the director, I'm the producer. My kids can go to Harvard Westlake. Your kids can go to Sierra Canyon, but and it's like you still working for me. And it's like, and people don't understand how. And my son, now that he's in college, he's like, man, college is easy. Because they were taught so much at Harvard Westlake, and the pressure. You know, a lot of people when I was sending my kid to Harvard, man, it's hard there, man. You should take him to Sierra Canyon. It's hard there. I was like, I want it to be hard for him. I don't want shit to be easy for him. I said because now if it's hard for him, when he goes to college, every person I ever talked to, kid who went to Harvard Westlake, go to high school, say, oh man, let me go to college. College is easy. So this is the rumor. I don't know if it's true, but they say USC doesn't take kids from Harvard Westlake because they feel like no, it's their fallback school because if they can't get in their original school like Harvard, Princeton, Yale, UCLA, their next choice is USC, and they're like, nah, we don't take y'all because we ain't gonna be nobody's second baby, you know. So and it's just weird how you talk about that preparing, and that's what this life is, you know. Everything that we try to do for our kids, we try to prepare them for the life. So
that's crazy.
You know, because tomorrow's not promised. If I'm going tomorrow,
what you gonna do? And that's crazy that you're saying this. I just gotta ask this question: what month were you born in?
August.
August
25th, 1970.
So you would be what is August?
Virgo.
Virgo. Oh, Virgo. Okay, so that's like the balance.
Yeah, I am very anal about, you know, structure. I'm very anal about, you know, being neat, and like I can't stand clutter. And my wife, like I just got back from Japan, right? And so my wife been driving my truck, and so she like, oh shit, I had to go in there because she had to get out because she goes to Starbucks and she gets about 50 napkins because she said in case I waste something, and she just boom. She's like, she was in there, she's like, I'm cleaning it up because you know I can't stand clutter. I have to have everything a certain way because my dad was in the military, and I know growing up in a small town and growing up in, like, you think about it, it was my mom, my aunt, my grandmother, my grandfather, my brother, and me all in one house. I had one little corner, and my grandfather was like, keep it neat because it's your only space. And so I don't want to see that shit all over the place when I get home. And so I've just always been a neat freak.
Yeah.
So you said wasn't your birthday the reason you picked your number?
Yes. Yeah.
You had that number in college?
I had the number in college. I had it in high school. When I first got to high school, my high school coach said, "What number you want to be?" I said, "I want to be 32." So I'd be like Magic Johnson. He's like, "No, you can't have that number." He says, "Why?" I said, "Because you need to be your own person. You can admire him and try to take some of his skills and add to your game, but you need to be your own person." So he says, "When's your birthday?" August 25th. So I took 25. Yeah.
That's crazy because he wore the number 12. His favorite player was Kevin Garnett.
Yep. And I
You know,
switched
21.
around. Yep.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So my favorite player was KG. And then I used to watch him and Tim Duncan, because Tim Duncan had the glass shot and they both was 21.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I want to be my own version of both of them, and I'll just be number 12. And that's how I ended up getting number 12.
You wore that in high school?
I wore it in high school, and everything was kind of predicated off those two guys. You know, I remember my first year in the league, he'll tell you now, like, if I shoot a bank shot, I ain't missing too many bank shots, because I used to just watch Tim Duncan shoot the bank shot all day. But I remember my first game against Tim, I had practiced the bank shot. And then the game, I jabbed him, and I went to go shoot it off the glass, and it hit the top of the backboard. It rolled all the way down. I said, yo. But that really, after that, I was like, okay, this bank shot, he know, like, anytime I'm playing, I'm trying to get to that bank shot.
Yeah. It's weird. I shot bank shots in high school and college too, because that was your friend. You know, you be falling off balance.
You just get it right to the glass.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a similar story. It's like we were playing a preseason game against the Atlanta Hawks. Love Dominique. And I was so amped, and I dove on the floor for a ball in front of him. You know how you're a vet, and you ain't dive on. He jumped me like, "Damn, young fella, it's preseason. Calm the fuck down." I'm like, but I was so hyped. I was trying to impress him, right? Yeah. So I'm diving on the floor, trying to like, dude, it's preseason. Calm the fuck down. When you told me that, I just started laughing, man. Because in my mind, you think about all these people you admire growing up and have the chance to play against. You know, you think about Dominique, how he just owned the South, man. And then I think one game when I really was like, wow, we were playing MJ. And MJ, you know, this is back when they was calling traveling on everybody. Didn't give a fuck who you were. So he came down, you know, you can jab something, and you don't put it down before that foot, they was travel. So they just called a travel on MJ. I came down like 3 plays later, they called travel on me. He's like, "Damn, young fella, you know, if they call a travel on me, they damn sure gonna call one on you." I'm like, man, shut the fuck up. But then the other side, I'm like, man, Michael Jordan just said something to you, man. So it's just so weird when you all these greats that you have a chance to play against, and you get to know them when they talking to you. And so I was like, man, Jordan talked to me, Dominique talked to me. So you have all those moments, man, that you know you can tell your kids about. And they can really, you know, look at you in a different eye, because sometimes they don't see who you are until you tell them about the greats they know about. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, his kids, I gotta tell, they don't really be understanding.
Yeah.
It is. I think it'd be a lot of NBA players or sports figures, kids, they just being kind of like it's like La La Land. They being La La Land.
John Jones, the greatest fighter, he came up to Dwight's son like, "Yo, how I feel to have your father be in the NBA?" He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Damn, my kids do the same."
This is John Jones. I'm like, I'm sitting there talking to my son like, "Do you know this the greatest fighter in the world right here?" And he's like, "Yeah, where's Carson at?" I'm like, "Bro, what? What are you talking about?" But I just love how, like, it's just the generations and like all the little things that, let's say, for me, for example, I was traveling. I did so many different things, and when I watch my kids, it's like each one of them, they'll take one little trait of mine and it's like blown up in them. Do you like have that with your kids, where it's like you have so many different talents and traits, and then now you see it in your kids, but it's just one specific thing in each kid that's like, oh man, that's them.
I think the one thing about all my kids is they're very neat. And they don't like anything out of place, and I think that came from me, because their mothers, I don't want to put them on blast, I'm just saying they're not as neat as me. Let's just put it like that. And so like my middle son, my oldest two, they all love video games. You know, we all grew up on video games. You know, NBA Jam. I got the NBA Jam coin op in my house because I was in it, and so
yes, I was about to say
yeah,
that.
they're all like disciplined, and when it comes to sports, they're like laser focused, right? But my youngest, I guess he saw the two oldest, and he's taking it to a whole nother level. He's at a point where it's crossed over into his personal life, where if the girl has one little flaw, no, she did this, no, I don't like her anymore. I'm like, what happened? She called me he broke up with a girl one time because she called him while he was like getting ready for a game. You know how like he was like, this is my Zen time, Dad, and she knows that, and she called me. I'm like, it could have been something important, dude. Like, no, you don't do that. I'm like, but it's just weird how they're just focused, man. And I appreciate it because when they have a goal in mind, they're gonna try to get it. And so I think for me, and not to say that their mothers aren't like that, but for me, that was just one of the things I see in me, that I see in them, that I have some of me in them. So it's just really cool to see how focused on how much they love what they do. Yeah.
Do any of your kids you think have a chance to make it to the NBA too? Or?
My oldest, the oldest, Nick was, when he was, your dad plays basketball. You want to play basketball too? Like, no. He says, I want to be an owner. His whole mindset was he says, and he was a little kid, like 12-year-old. He's the nerd, right? He's like a big time nerd. He was like, no, if that guy can pay my dad all that money, I want to be that guy.
That's crazy.
That's smart.
That's how he was. He went to law school and all that kind of stuff. Still, and then his mother got really sick, which kind of derailed his law school. But now he's back and going to law school. And then my middle son, we grew up in Katy, Texas. It's football. He was never a basketball player. He never would even listen to me on the basketball court. He won't listen. The only time he ever listened to me was my first year I retired. The Lakers were playing the Houston Rockets, and he was like, I want to go see Kobe. I said, okay. So we went in the locker room and was talking to Kobe and Fish. And he was like, yo, Cam, how your basketball coming along? He like, yeah. He said, are you listening? He said, you listen to your dad? He like, yeah, sometimes. He looked at us, he put, how Kobe like put his hand on his shoulder. He said, your dad is one of the smartest players I ever played with. You should have seen the look of my son. He's like, this dude? And like, so for 2 weeks, that dude would listen to everything I told him, like, for 2 weeks.
That's all it took, though.
And all of a sudden, I went out of town, came back. He was like, But he started playing football. He was really good at football. And he got a concussion, played at Texas A&M, got a concussion. He never wanted to play again. And it was weird because that's the one thing when your kids play football, you're so fearful of them getting hurt. It's when you play basketball, you don't really think about them getting hurt.
Yeah, that's
true. When you think about playing football, it's always like, taking the knees out, concussions, broken neck. You have all these fears when it comes to football because it's a collision sport.
That's true.
And so when he was like, said, I don't want to play anymore, part of me was like, yes, and the part of me was like saying no because I saw how talented he was at tight end. So now we're down to the 20-year-old who's, a red shirt, walk on at UCLA, and he's trying to figure things out. But this, how crazy high school is and recruitment is now with NIL, so we just trying to find a path right now. So
do you think that the NIL is a good thing for basketball and sports, or do you think that it is now kind of taking away the real passion for basketball?
I think guys should get paid. I really do, because the universities are making money off your name. And that's not fair, but you do have to put more regulations on it. I don't like the fact that you take these kids that they played at 6 schools. To me, that's
too much.
You had to. Goes back to accountability, and I know they have to sign contracts, but if you're going to sign a $3 million deal, it's like the NBA. You're going to sign a 2-year deal. Hold these kids accountable where they had to be in a school for 2 years. You want all this money, you're going to be here for 2 years, and if you're going to leave, go ahead and leave, but you're going to give some of my money back. And so that's my whole thing, because now if you leave and you go pro and you make pro, let's take the Bryant, for instance. I don't know how much you make it, but I know it's a lot. If he signed a 3-year deal, we know you're going, go ahead, but you're only going to get so much of that money because it's like the diary that they have is only so much, and so I feel like more kids there's more kids on that team that probably need it way more than you. Because you're going to go pro, you're going to make $100 million. But this is kid that, he's college good. So he got to make his money in college. He ain't going to the next level. And so let him eat too.
What you think about the see the high school NIL when it's trickling down now into AAU, and it's getting all like this. The money is getting like it's not just like on the collegiate level, like it's messing up high school, and now it's filtering all the way down to AAU.
Yeah, you think about, even with high school and being in California and seeing, you think about Sierra Kane, they just reload. They get players that come in for 1 year, 2 years, they get them from Chicago. Like, why are you coming from Chicago and playing California for 1 year? And now if you think about, it's everybody's copycats. It goes from AAU. Think about all AAU teams. Oh, I gotta get this guy. I gotta get this guy. I get it. Now we the best team in basketball, and then the parents come like, oh, you gonna let my son play? I'm not gonna call. It's a funny thing. It was this one kid that played on Christian's AAU team, and I remember I was sitting like a couple seats over, and her son was good, really good. I ain't gonna call him name. I won't put him on blast, but it was like, she was like, how much you talking? Every coach that came up, she was like, how much you talking? She didn't want to know no name, how much you talking. And I sat there and saw 3 coaches go, and one coach was from a small school, and their budget wasn't big. And he was like, how much you talking? He's like, he just got up and walked away. Because that's what it's about now. It's about, the parents like, okay, and I get it, you never know what's going to happen. You might get injured, you can't go. You look at the guy who just messed his leg up. You don't know what his future's about. And so it's like you get your money now, and I get that, but there's going to be times where you're only going to be as good as those other kids on this team. Now there's some animosity going to start building because, like, I'm at practice, I'm doing all this work, I'm doing just as much. You averaging 35, I'm averaging 32, and I'm only making like way lower than you, and it's a discrepancy there, but it's a slippery slope. We can hit it with all different angles and all different theories but at the end of the day, the one thing that I hate about it is I love NCAA basketball. There's no more Cinderella teams. There's not going to be no Cinderella team
because of money.
Yeah, because you think, let's take, everybody thought Miami High was going to be the Cinderella team, but we know they weren't that good. Yeah. Then you take all these teams like a Murray State that have these good guys. You find someone like a John Morant. Yeah. He's gone the next year because he said, "Oh, I done got good. People didn't see me because I was in a small town." He gonna go to the next school and get that big contract, and then he gonna be gone again because there's another school be like, how much they give you? 1.5. We're gonna give you 2, and that's one of the things they should do. They should do tampering. They should do tampering in college because it's getting ridiculous, man.
Oh, it's going crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any tampering done, but you think about the kid who left Illinois to go play at Michigan. He was killing Illinois as a freshman, and all of a sudden, he's at Michigan now. I'm like, one thing I wish I could do, if you transfer within in conference, you got to sit out 2 years. Ooh. If you transfer to another place, you got to sit out 1 year. I guarantee if they put that into play, it's going to stop all this jumping. And you still, like, these kids don't want adversity. It's like, okay, he didn't play me. He going to jump to another school. Like, look at the kid at USC. You 40 years old and still in college.
That's too
much.
Let it go. Hey, where you going?
It's only one person that I ever seen play a college sport that long was he deserved it because was it Winky, the quarterback? He went to the military straight out of high school. He spent 4 years in the military and then he went back and played college. That's the only one because you served our country. You have the right to do whatever you want to as far as it comes to something like that. Other than you just jumped around because you went to college, you went to JUCO, and you went to this college and that college. No, dude. It ain't happening, man.
Let me ask you, you was telling me earlier you played with Latrell Sprewell in college. Yeah. We interviewed Joe Smith a while ago. He was on the Golden State team. Yeah. So how was he as a college teammate? How was that team?
I've never seen someone from up north country than me. Sprewell was country as heck.
So he was from up north.
He was Milwaukee. He from Milwaukee. He was from Milwaukee, and I'm like, damn, dude, you kind of country man to be from Milwaukee. So, I'm gonna say something. Don't take this the wrong way. My senior year, this is our starting lineup for 2 games. James Robinson, Latrell Sprewell, Robert Horry at the 3, Jason Caffey at the 4, a guy by the name of Marcus Webb at the 5. 5 pros started. Coming off the bench was Roy Rogers. He went pro, and so people were like, why didn't y'all win? Because we had like 15 turnovers some in the game, so he moved everybody back a position and started a point guard by the name of Elliot Washington. He's a coach down at IMG. He started him because Elliot knew if he, in order to get minutes on that team, he had to run the show. And like, oh no, he would come down the floor like, kick it up. No, it was so funny. Like, no, I'm not doing it. I need my minutes. And so, I played with some great guys, man. You should see some of our practices. It was like the one thing we had about our practice. We played hard. We played, we would like rough you up. Like you come off a screen, if you wasn't looking, bow, we laugh about it. Oh yeah, you got me. Most guys go, man, what the fuck you did that? It puts you in the mindset you got to put your head on the swivel
be ready.
and be ready and avoid that shit. So we had so much fun in practice. You can do that now. You might lose a friend for the rest of your life.
Oh, forever they gonna take it the wrong way.
Then you set the school blocks record.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah,
So you came in, you were more so defensive. So
that's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really took a lot of pride in. I actually, Roy Rogers actually beat my single season record. He came back and won that. But for me, you think about it, I was like second in blocks behind Shaquille in the SEC. And so for me, I've always, took pride in, playing perimeter defense, playing blocking shots, protecting the basket. And, when you come into the league, you have goals. My goal was to be an all defensive player. I never got that. And I blame Dream, because he took all my shine. And you talk about, you had a conversation with Clyde. Clyde would talk about how great he was playing with us, because if he beat Dream, he was getting beat up by me. And that's one of the things people don't talk about, because like my first 4 years, I was like, you have that privilege. You got a guy like you behind you. You can do all types. You can take chances. I had 100 steals, 100 blocks.
7 steals, and you got the record for steals in the finals.
Yeah, and it's so weird. That I love playing defense, and that's one of the things that kind of upsets me about today's game is they don't allow guys to play defense. The only one that play defense is a shot blocker. And I'm like, no, that's defense, but there's more than just blocking shots. You got to move your feet. You got to get a guy off his position. And now it's just, I'm like, come on, man, that's not a foul. Come on, man, you can't, because I'm stronger than you, and you bump into me. It's like, I said,
they call so much.
Yeah, it's like I call it you have the wall and the tennis ball. Don't get mad at me. I'm a wall and you're a tennis ball. My first experience with that was in the NBA. It's like, when you come in the league, you experience, oh, you're a shot block. Oh, I want to dunk on you to make my name. So we play in Utah. I go to try to dunk on Mark Eaton. And Mark Eaton knocked me up in the stands, and I'm like, that's a foul. The refs look at me and says, no, it's not, young fella. You got to get stronger. This is a man's league. And you think about that. A ref tells you that. Now, if you go up to a ref and say something, he's like, okay, I'll give it to you next time. And you just gotta man up. It's a man's game. And so I don't understand it.
Do you think that now they kind of stopped all the rough housing or roughness per se, so it saves injuries or something like that?
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with injury. How many guys really got hurt from that outside of Rudy T?
They didn't get hurt a lot.
Yeah,
I just think I think it's how it looked on TV and how it looked to the world.
They fighting more now,
or is it more to give an advantage to offense so that the game could look better?
I want you to think about this. You think about it. Every ref's different. So now, when you go to the hole and you get hit, you so used to getting that foul call, or it's not, it's considered a flagrant foul now. If that's how you came in the league, you just jump up and you go to the free throw. Now guys are pushed, hey man, and then you go into the monitor. It's like basketball game is so long now because all the free throw shot, going to the monitor to see if it's a flagrant and all this kind of stuff. It's like now if you come in the game, you're gonna get hit in the head.
Yeah.
Some of them intentional. That one should be called. If I jump by and all of a sudden I hit you like this, it's not a flagrant.
Not every time. But they
flagrant.
changed that rule because if somebody get anything over the shoulders was considered a flagrant foul.
Yeah.
So they had to change that because it's so much. It's so much. Like it's so many variables. Like you want to make sure that these players is cool. You want to make sure that the fans is cool. Like I bet it's really hard being a commissioner for the NBA. Looking at it because you got so much. You're trying to drive revenue sales up every year. You try to do marketing sales every year. You try to keep the players happy on this end. You try to keep the coaches happy. So It's like it's a great business.
I wouldn't care about the coaches.
You said you wouldn't care about
I
the
wouldn't
coaches?
care about the coaches.
Because the players make the league?
I think the players make the league.
Yeah.
Because you think about this, you know, one of my prime examples is the players make the league.
Mm-hmm.
Golden State's on that run, right? You know, I love Steve Kerr. You know, Steve Kerr and I for 10 years, it was a he or me that won a championship. So for 10 years, he and I ruled. So when he went out, they brought in Luke Walton. They didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
You know, and don't get me wrong, there's some coaches that really are really, really good, but there's some coaches that have the luxury of having a really, really good team. You know, Phil's experienced that. You think about the teams Phil had. So to me, you look at guys like that, it's like, you know, even though Phil is really good at controlling the players in the sense like, okay, I'm gonna give you this much leash, but then I gotta snatch you back. So you gotta control the guys and make sure that they don't step outside the box. You know, with the Dennis Rodman thing, you gotta give Dennis so much leash. More people. So it's so many things like that. So I think the players are the ones that make the league, and it's up to the players to really control. Because think about it. How many, let's say you, when you was at Orlando, if you wanted the coach going, you go into the manager and say, him or me. What's going to happen?
I know what's going to happen, man. They're going to blame me.
But the coach is going to, they're going to blame you, but the coach is going to lead. Now, if I go in there and says, okay, me or him, they're gonna tell me bye because I don't have enough power. Now, if you got enough cachet, you gonna. So that shows you that the players run the league.
Yeah.
You know, think about how many. You know, let's take Thibodeau. Thibodeau is one of my favorite coaches. Even though he caused his demise by playing those guys a lot of minutes, and when you think about it, he played those guys a lot of minutes. But how many of those guys really got hurt though?
Yo, that man, he brought the Knicks all the way, and they
but,
fired him.
But here's the thing: it's like you think about how he got those guys physically ready. You know, now you think about the league, you don't have practice time. Mm-hmm. You don't have training camp time. And that's when you beat your body up for this long journey.
Yeah, yeah.
And since he beats those guys' body, think about how many guys, think about it, did they ever get hurt? I can't think about anybody who really got hurt.
They were just tired.
Yeah,
they tried to look back at Derrick Rose, that Derrick Rose incident.
But see, I can
They don't say about Brandon Roy. It's like some players have injury prone. You talk about Greg Oden.
Yeah.
You think about Sam Bowie. You think about
because there's so many.
It's a lot of players that just injury bound. I played 16 seasons. I got hurt twice, maybe twice. But one time, Jerome Kersey got arrested, so he fell on me. I strained my MCL. Second time I got hurt, I had a virus that attacked my heart. I never really got hurt. And I know you probably, the league was different. I'm like, yeah, but still though.
Physical.
For one point in time, I had more playoff games, than anybody.
It's still moving. It's the same sport.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But they always say it's the pace, and I tell them all the time with coaches, well, the pace of the game. I was like, you the coach, right? Well, you change your system up where the pace ain't that fast.
So was the pace faster back then, or was it slower because of the inside out? Because a lot of people think the game is so fast now. Like,
you know what? I think the pace of the game is different just because you go up and down more because you take more bad shots. You think about how many times you come down the floor.
You're trying to get a good shot.
You're trying to get a good shot, and then more of the time you take you really want a great shot. Them guys come down now, and they'll shoot a three with 2 seconds in the shot clock, and it's a bad three. Well, coach said to shoot a three, and to me that's what I look at. It's like the pace is faster, and then, but to me the pace is also slower because they shoot more free throws.
So what do you think is the golden era of basketball?
The golden era is to me, I think you got when Magic and Bird had that confrontation, then you had when Jordan took over, then you had Shaq and Kobe, and you had once the bigs left the league, that's when to me the golden era ends, because you think about the great battles that you had against other bigs, and then once the big kind of left the game, it became the shooting era. I won't call it gold. I just think the golden era was a bunch of bigs, and you had guards, you had bigs, and everybody can play.
So well-balanced league.
Don't get me wrong. I still love the NBA. Yeah. I get frustrated with the NBA, but I still love it. And I just think because you love to see guys talented, the way they can move their bodies, the way they can shoot, the things that they can do is amazing. One of my favorite guys is Ant-Man, but I don't like Ant-Man's game anymore. Because he got to a point. Think about this: in the last 2 years, when has the last time Ant-Man really dunked on somebody?
It's been all threes.
That's crazy. Someone else said that.
He went to the 3 game. He took a rate. I know it's probably. I know some coaches said, "Man, for longevity, we don't need you doing that." But I miss that Ant-Man when he would, he still talk trash, but I miss him dunking on people.
Yeah.
You think about him. You think about all the great players like that. They become 3-point shooters now. And it's like, I want to see the dunks.
Even for me as a fan, when I go to games, because I've been to games the last 6 years, I'm like, there's no dunks. If it is a dunk, it's not. No one's trying to dunk on you. No one's going to the paint. It's really three.
Because they telling you that layups is we don't want layups. We want threes.
Yeah.
we want the long game.
I want people to really sit back and look at the NBA game and you take Golden State Warriors out of the mix, and you give me the last 3 Finals MVPs, and you tell me if they were 3-point shooters or not. Shai Gilgeous, mid-range.
Mid-range.
He brought it back. He's bringing it back.
Brown definitely wasn't a 3-point shooter. He won it. Jokic, no.
Nope.
So you think about, you take all these teams that have won NBA championships. They're complete teams. They don't just rely on the 3 like the Golden State Warriors did. And so now everybody want to be like, like I said, copycat. Everybody wants to copy Golden State Warriors, but they got Ferraris. You got fucking Pintos. And it's a difference,
that's
man.
That's what worked for them. Like, you got to do what's best for your team.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, basketball is a little different.
The NBA season is rolling, and DraftKings' newest Pick 6 is the easiest way to play for your big shot at big wins. Here's how it works. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. The better you pick, the bigger your payout. New DraftKings customers are getting $50 in Pick 6 credits with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball. Pick, play, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code DH12. That's code DH12. Play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions may vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 is not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable. Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
I was going to take a turn from basketball. What do you think about the state of our country?
Man, so I have 3 boys. And you think about implementing the draft again. I'm like, and that's one of the things that my father told me, son, you can do whatever you want to ever join the military.
Don't do it, yeah.
And for me, you putting young kids' life at stake. Everybody that's in politics, okay, if you're going to be in politics, if you got kids, you're going to join the military. So that way you won't just, all willy-nilly put these young men and women in harm's way. Don't get me wrong. I know there's certain times where we have to defend our country. There's certain times we have to take care of our allies. But I think sometimes we need to sit down at the table and talk a little more and just not get mad because their view is not our view.
But that's life. Like, I think what you said is very key because that's what we've been lacking. Like, everybody's so quick to press the sin, to destroy button instead of having a conversation, instead of like really get down to the nitty gritty. Nobody wants those type things to happen. They want to just shoot bombs, go, whatever it may be. It's no actual like understanding of each other. You got to have a conversation too, and I think that's something that's been missing. And then seeing, we don't know what's true. We don't know what's getting bombed. We don't know if any of this stuff, like we don't know how real or fake any of this stuff is. So it's just been.
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings is Rome wasn't built in a day, and I think this generation and a lot of generations, they want so many things overnight. They want it done now. Patience is a virtue, and sometimes you got to have patience with people, and especially when there's a language barrier and my dad was in the military, like I said. I have a lot of friends that went to the military. I know, the job is dangerous, and you know it was when you took it. So I think, you got to be prepared for it. But I remember one of my greatest joys was I did a USO tour. We went to Afghanistan and a couple other places to talk to the troops, and that was so much fun. And I remember this one time I was in the commissary with these kids, and I called them kids because they was 18 years old, and they were kids, and they were so gung-ho to go to Afghanistan, and I'm like, man, I said thank you, because your life ain't even started. You ain't even old enough to buy beer, man. Like, and you're going to put your life on the line for us. And so, and I remember talking to him, and unfortunately, we went to this hospital, and we were seeing all these people getting blown up, and all they could think about was getting back out there to protect the country, being out there with their teammates and their fellow soldiers, and it was, to me, I was just like, wow. I was like, you can't even buy liquor, and in the back of my mind, like, when you come back to the country, you're gonna get treated like crap, and that's the one thing that pisses me off about how we want to defend all these countries, but when the military come home and they're out of service because they got PTSD or they got broken limbs, nobody want to take care of them. Yeah. It's like, you give all this money to to go fight. You get all this money to ICE. You give all this money to politicians. Politicians all should make what the president's supposed to make, like $250,000. Every politician should be made $250,000. You should be your account should be open to the public. We want to check where your money's coming from. If you got
do it with us athletes,
yeah, I said they do it with us. We should check this, man. And all that money you making, you should have something for these vets. Vets should never have to pay taxes. Vets should never have to pay medical bills. And vets should have the best facilities, but we don't do anything as far as, like, if you're a doctor and they say, oh, we're going to send you to the VA, they be like, no, I don't want to go to the VA. They don't want to go to the VA because they know it's the worst job that you can have as a doctor, because they're not going to make any money. And to me, that is so messed up, because you need to take care of our vets. You need to do all this. And I'm not just saying that because my dad, I believe that about teachers. I believe that about some law enforcement, because there's some law enforcement, we get that confused. We can't blame one guy and say everybody's the same. So these are the teachers, law enforcement, and the military. They don't get enough justice, especially teachers. You think about this. Yeah. You get mad at a teacher who's trying to teach your child, but you only want to give your teacher $60,000 for the year. But yet you'll go spend $500,000 to see a guy shoot basketball.
But see, after I guess my life experience, I think it's wrong that teachers don't get paid like that. But again, the world that we live in, they want so much entertainment. So people pay for entertainment instead of real truth. Nobody's going to pay for truth.
Yeah, they pay for distraction. They pay for distractions. Think
about it. The people want to pay for any and everything that's going to distract them.
And not educate.
But for education, no, nobody's going to want to spend time and money outside of those who are disciplined and who really want that. The other people are like, man, nah, it's too much. I want to be distracted. I want to be entertained. I want to drink whatever it may be, instead of actually reaching truth. So, that's a pretty tough one.
Like, I know that was what you're talking about is a big reason he did the special forces, to test himself and everything. Was that a part of your reason?
Yeah, I did it to honor my dad, just for him, because I felt like I was really close to my father. And one of the things the first time he ever talked about the military was my first marriage. We were sitting at the bar with me and a bunch of my teammates from college. And he's like, yeah, man, I remember the first time I got blew up by an IED. And I'm like, what? He said, we had to lay in the ditch and pretend we were dead. And I'm looking like, dude, when did all this happen? He said, I remember one time I had a leech on my neck and it was biting my neck and I had to pretend I was dead. I'm like, you mean they could have just shot by and shot? He said, yeah. I'm looking like, no wonder you don't tell all these stories. And so he never really talked about it. So for me, I know it was something I could never, ever put myself in the place of what he did, because it's only, a couple people I'm dying for, and they got the last name Horry. So I hate to say it like that, but for me, I just want to say, thank you. But unfortunately, the day I got to New Zealand to film it, he passed away because he had Alzheimer's, dementia, and I always thought Agent Orange was something that Eddie Murphy made up in the movie Trading Places, and I got and Agent Orange was real, and it deteriorated his mind and his body really fast when he and it was just one of those things, and that was unfortunate that he didn't get a chance to see it, but I did it for him.
When you did the show, what was kind of like, because I did the show, and we talked about it. I think the world needs to see, like, when people, listen, you guys, this ain't the Special Force is not like a podcast or like a little reality show. This was real.
Yeah.
This was no joke.
No scripts.
No scripts. That they was not telling us, hey, you gotta act like you're hurting and act like you're sad. No, we was really going through it. What was one of your toughest parts?
I think it's the toughest part for me. They didn't even show it. So when we first came on, they blindfold you and do all that stuff. They take you to the place, and all of a sudden now that you take it off, and my eyes are very, very sensitive light. And so I'm like, blinking. He's all in my face, like, "What's the matter? You can't see." I'm like, man, I'm trying to see. Like, they didn't tell everybody to turn around. And we had a suspension bridge across all. It's like, I forget. It was like 180 feet in the air. And if you watch the episode, you see everybody do it but me. So I go across the suspension bridge, and they cut a hole in it, probably about as big as this cushion. I couldn't get through it, so I had to wiggle it. I'm like, in my mind, it just hit me. They didn't fucking prepare for you to get through this hole. You think those fucking ropes are gonna hold you in case you fall? And my whole mindset was like, oh, hell fucking no, I ain't doing this shit. Because, at this time, I remember when I said, man, I ain't doing this shit. And they looked at me like, what? I said, I ain't doing it, man. I couldn't even get through the fucking hole. I had to struggle to get through the hole, and because they did the ladder test where you had to walk across the ladder over the rocks and water, and then you had to bend down, touch your toes, and come back up and then walk across. Yeah. I'm like, I looked at the rope. Everybody got one of those little rope holding on to you. I'm like, oh no, fuck this, So I didn't do it. They took it out. They didn't even put it in. They didn't show that clip. So I was shocked they didn't show it. And then I remember when I went to the dam, because we did the run down the dam thing where and he was like, we got more ropes this time. You gonna do it? I'm like, nope. Yeah, you got 3 ropes. Now I can see that shit, but he had one over there. So it was me and Dez had to go. Dez and Bryant had to go against each other. It was scary, but it was fun though, because it was a challenge. And that was the only thing that I had. You
had to run down.
Yeah, we had. And then I think the weirdest part was I always laugh when these kids are gung ho. Was it Osborne as a kid, the son of the guy who bit out the bat, this bird, or whatever. You had to pick up these rocks. You had to go get your own rock, and we had to do the duck walk with the rock. He probably gets a rock that probably weighed like 40 pounds, trying to show how manly he is. I'm like, you little fat ass, better put that down.
You better put that
I was over there looking at everybody rock. I said, I can't have the smallest one. I can't have the biggest one. And you think about us, the clothes don't fit us, so it's hard. Think about duck walking and pants are too small, too tight, shoes are too small, And so I'm walking with this, and like, man, I was so mad about that, but it was a fun experience. I had a great time.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
You know what? I would do it again, but they have to give me the same right. You had this problem too. The shoes didn't fit.
Uniform, same shoes.
I had to get the shoes that fit, and then I would do it. But
it got to be in a warm place.
I was gonna say, because we were cold, man. It was cold.
It got to be in a warm place, because a cold place, I promise you, it make you want to probably quit the same day, because it's too cold. Like being in the water cold. And it's cold outside, and the wind.
So did y'all have any hiccups like we did?
We had this a lady. Somebody was allergic to tear gas, and they got messed up. And one guy, he kept coughing, and something happened on the inside of his lungs. He started coughing stuff up. Mel B hurt her knee, but the dude popped it back in place.
Damn. Seriously?
Yeah, like she was like, oh my God, my knee. He said, shut up, I got this. And he said, bow. And then her knee went back in place. And she was like, oh, fuck. And it kept going. I was like, yo.
You mentioned the fighting thing.
Oh, yeah, Dez Bryant.
I had to fight.
He had to fight Danny.
I had to fight Danny, and I had to fight Mike Piazza. They made me fight 2 people.
But look, when you look at the thing, it's Dwight hit Danny, right, real hard. he
They
went
stopped
down.
it.
They stopped it. They was like, hold up.
They told me no, I can't punch like that no more.
And they told Dwight, and when he got back, you don't got your phones. He's like, yo, I lost, but let me tell you why. He was like, they told me to stand with my legs straight.
Yeah, they said I had to
After
stand.
I knocked them down and just start swinging. I'm like, yeah, they went that David and Goliath story.
I was so mad. They made me stand straight. They said, all right, listen, you can only stand here and you can just throw punches. And so they told him he could go up under me, he can grab me and all that stuff. I'm like, y'all didn't tell me that. So then after that, I had to fight Mike Piazza. They said no headshots. And I'm like, man, y'all just want me to get my ass whooped by everybody.
I left before that, but we had this scene where we were in the, we walked up this mountain and we went to this big old lake, and they were there and they cut a big hole in the ice, and so we had to, jump in the ice and then come back, and you had to recite all these things. But the problem is they try to show it where how they have one of the guys do it first,
yeah,
and the fucking current
whooped them under.
and so they had to stop it because they said we can't have these guys that's inexperienced getting it, because he didn't come up for a while. He was like, oh shit, where this motherfucker at?
And if he can't do it,
he came up finally, and he was like, you can tell he was panicking. I know he wasn't panicking, but to me,
no,
the anguish in his face was real. I'm like, nah, this motherfucker like, oh shit, he like to get out here. And so they were like, hold on. And the guy, you can see him like, nah, that's that current, man. We can't do that with them. I mean, we have a liability on our hand, like.
Yeah.
So they moved us like
Angel.
3 feet in. So, of course, me being 6'9", I'm like, I had to like really fall in the water like this, because everybody else had to, and it was just weird because it was scary, man, because they have that line on you. I don't care, that current take you. I don't care how strong you are. You gonna drink so much of that nasty ass water, and you gonna be gone.
Hey y'all, sorry to break away from the show. I just had to let you know that there's a reason why I'm a basketball Hall of Famer. Just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. With over $25 billion recovered for over 500,000 clients, Morgan & Morgan has proven a track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. For over 35 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people, just like you and I. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/abovetherim or dial #law #529 from your cell phone. This is a paid advertisement.
Hey, before we end this segment, we got to talk about 7 championships.
Okay.
And we got to talk about how he is considered one of the most clutch
players
in the history.
NBA
like, how
history.
does that? Yeah, before we get out of here, like, you are mentioned as top 5 most clutch. We saying top 5.
So let me hold up.
Yeah.
We asked ChatGPT what's the most clutch players in history.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, and they come up. Hold on, where's the list at?
Where is it?
Right here. Clutchest players ever: Michael Jordan, 1, Kobe Bryant, 2, LeBron James, 3, Larry Bird, 4, Robert Horry.
Wow.
They got you at number 5.
Damn.
Also, Bleacher Report reported you at number 7.
Oh shit.
How does it feel to be a part of that conversation?
Man, I am truly honored. I didn't even know that. That's my first time hearing about this, man.
Really?
So yeah, it's one thing I do not do. I do not, when I'm bored, even Google myself.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I never Googled myself.
Yeah, I've never Googled myself. I remember, like, when people say, "Oh, you said this," I'm like, "And?" I'm like, I said it. So it's, for me, it's an honor, because when you think about when I first got in the NBA, I wasn't even like, they didn't even know where I was gonna go. So you probably only went to two teams. You come out
2 workouts.
yeah, 2 workouts. I went to 12 workouts, because they didn't know if I was going from 8 to 28. They didn't know where I was gonna go. And I went to Indiana. I just knew I was gonna get drafted by Indiana, because my worst workout was for the Houston Rockets, and they drafted. My best workout was for the Indiana Pacers. I hit like 63s in a row for the Indiana Pacers. I was on a fucking heater never like before, and so they were, we drafting this kid. We didn't know how good it was, because in college I played center, but I had to play center because I was the only one that could do it.
Yeah.
And for me to get mentioned in that same breath, when you're not even, you think about all those guys on that list, they're go-to players, throughout the game. they only go to me when they need a win. I'm like, my whole philosophy, like, if you fucking go to me during the game, we won't be in this position where I got to hit a game. That's tough. But you play the game. You think about it. There's so many times we sacrifice our games for the betterment of our team. I know, like, I think about the things that I sacrificed when I went to the Lakers. Not getting any plays ran for you. To me, I can shoot the shit out of basketball, but if you don't use me, you think about it, you get like 5 shots, you gotta be perfect. You might make one of those go 0 for 5, but eventually you might get hot. Yeah. But you take the superstar of the game, he can go 5. Oh, he gonna get hot in a second, but you don't have that option, and so you have to always have to come through. And
that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what's the challenge of being a role player versus a star player?
Being a role player, you sacrifice so much, but you have to have the right mindset. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the right mindset,
it's not gonna work.
Since I cover the Lakers, you take Rui Hachimura, for instance, and I think Rui and I are pretty much the same player. Yeah. When he is used, he is so good, but when he's not used, he don't know how to say, okay, I'm talented enough to go get offensive rebound, get my own shot. I'm talented enough to lock somebody up. It's like him and DeAndre Ayton are the two guys that their whole game is predicated on if I get shots.
If they score.
If I don't get shots, I'm not. Yes,
and I think that's hard because I think when you playing in the league and you kind of young, you got everybody telling you should be getting shots and minutes and all this stuff, and you like, and in the back of your mind, you like, man, I got to be a team player, but then you like, man, I want some shine. I think that's what be happening to a lot of these players, and I think DeAndre had a epiphany because he realized he don't have to be that guy for them to win. Yeah. And when you realize little stuff like that, and you like, all right, well, I don't have to be the person. It make your job so much easier. Like, it make it easier to say, I look at Dennis Rodman. Mm-hmm. All he had to do was just go be Dennis. Mm-hmm. And that probably made it so much easier for him, because as a basketball player, you probably have so much pressure because you got friends, family, everybody over here that you want to impress the little ladies, whatever you got going on. Mm-hmm. So you got all this spiraling in your head while you trying to hoop. So the less you got in your head, the better you'll be. And I'm looking at a guy like Dennis, all right, because you said it earlier, it was like he had a long leash, like Coach didn't. He wasn't always up on Dennis' jock like that. And I that probably had Dennis so comfortable that he was like, man, I'm finna go get me 30 rebounds. I ain't finna let nobody score.
But you made a good point earlier about leadership.
Yeah.
So we had Jeremy Lin on, and it went viral everywhere about when he's saying he was talking to Kobe about his leadership style, right, and adjusting and everything. Mm-hmm. They just asked Rui the other day, I don't know if you saw it in the press conference, they said, hey, what type of leadership role he had? He's like, I'm not no leader. I don't even do no leadership. But he's saying that he's a role player. He doesn't need to do a leadership. But you were a role player. What's your thoughts on that?
I want you to think about, you look at our, I remember, go back a little bit, then I go forward. Tree Rollins will always make me, we flew commercial my first year, yeah. That's how far I go back. Mm-hmm. He would make me go home, says, young fella, go home and meet me at the airport. I had to run home and meet. He would change our flights. And he would sit down, he would just talk about being a leader. He said, yeah, you young, but have you noticed how when you say, they look at you and they respect what you say? Because they understand you know the game. And there was little things like that you got, think about Tree Rollins. He's been around, coached, all this kind of stuff. It's little things when you have the voice and they trust you, not when you come out, you can't come in like, preaching every day. Like, you've had those guys, like, guys, we got to do A, B, C, and every player said, man, will you shut the fuck up and sit down? We've all that, you got that one rah-rah guy. Yeah. But when you rah-rah at the right time, it's the right time. You can't be saying it all the time. And that's true. That's the one thing that I've learned, because it's like when you speak, they have to listen to you. You have to say it with purpose. And for me, you think of that team we had with the Lakers. We had B. Shaw, we had Derek, we had Ron Harper. We had all these guys, and they were well respected by Shaq and Kobe. And we wasn't always like taking Kobe and Shaq to the side. Like me and Shaq had a different language. I go like, yo, you fucking up. He's like, yeah, I know. I said, man, come on, you fucking up. And then Kobe, I was like, yo, man, come on, let's move the ball, let's play team basketball, let's do this. It's like, you have that conversation with everybody, and you're a leader in the sense of like, you do the right things at the right time. People think that you always have to be giving speeches and all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know how many basketball players even want to hear that. Have you ever want to hear a guy get up and like, man, we got to go out here, we got to do this, man, these motherfuckers over here in the locker room, and we looking like, dude, this ain't shit we don't know. We already know this, so sit your ass down. We don't want to hear it right now. We trying to get our mental right, and we don't need to hear you, because everybody has that moment. How many times have you respected, like, you fucking up, Dwight, man. You got to, and done.
That's the moment. That's all you
done.
really need. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to give a fucking 40-minute speech for a 3-second thing you can tell a guy. Because if you're a champion and motivated guy, that's all you need. Yo, you fucking up. You need to do ABC. Let's go. And you done with it.
So you one of the 4 NBA players to win a championship with, more than with 3 teams. What was the different leadership styles? You got Tim, Hakeem, and Shaq, Kobe.
I think we would start with the Rockets. Dream didn't say much. He and I would talk all the time. We have a great relationship. He led by example. You have, Vernon was the real, inspiration guy that first 2 years. He was that rah-rah guy. He was scared of him. He like, fucking do this shit, bitch. Let's do it, and then we do it. God damn, man, come on, man. You got fucked up, Rob. You fucking up. Let's go. And we would work out. And then when I got to, the Lakers, it was more so Ron Harper, because he was like, before Phil got there, that team was just fucking wild. We had Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, we had Shaq, we had, Kobe was a rookie. There was no leadership on that team, man. It was no, and the crazy part about it is that the one moment Nick tried to show some leadership, the saying has gone viral. So when Nick was in the locker room, he was like, yo, man, we can't get swept. If we get swept, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 Cancun. And so now everybody says 1, 2, 3 Cancun, and people don't even know Nick. It was his way of saying that we don't want to do that, So he said, all right, put it in 1, 2, 3 Cancun, and it was like for him, like, we don't want to do it.
It got taken the wrong.
It got taken the wrong way.
Crazy.
Yeah, and so everybody said, oh, they're gonna be 1, 2, 3 Cancun, because back then Cancun had the Jazz Fest. Every athlete was at the Jazz Fest in Mexico. It was like because that's when they had cut out Freaknik. Yeah. And so we would go to the Jazz Fest in Cancun. So that's how that came about. But when I got to San Antonio, it was like they were the most disciplined team ever. They didn't need a leader because they were the most structured team ever. San Antonio had like 50 plays. I mean, like, most teams might have 20, 25. They had so many damn plays. I mean, you felt, you like this. You're like, damn, I feel like a dumbass. I know I'm smart and shit. But they had a lot of plays, and so they were the most structured team, and so they really didn't have a leader, and it was no rah-rah person. It was nobody spoke. Pop would come in and say, you fucking up, we need to do ABC, and we'll move on. Because they knew what they had to do.
Which championship meant the most to you?
I think for me, the 95 championship mean the most to me because of the people we had to beat. You think Karl Malone, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, AC Green, Kevin Johnson, then David Robertson, Dennis Rodman, and then we went on to sweep Shaq and Penny in Orlando. So to me,
he said,
you think about that. That 95, we didn't have home court advantage. We were 6th seed. We made a major trade by getting Clyde. Everybody got hurt that year. And it was just one of those things that we was able to overcome adversity. And one thing about Clyde people don't talk about. One of the greatest athletes ever. That dude's finger roll was amazing, man. He'd put it in. Dwight, you think you're a shot blocker? You probably never blocked this shot. Cause he'd look at you like this, and it'd go just like this over here. He was fucking amazing. He the only dude that would come to practice, sit there and read a paper, and all right, let's run lines and beat everyone down the floor. He was just that good, man. So he was amazing.
Glide. Mm-hmm. My dad used to love him, but I thought it was because his game, but it's because they used to have bald heads. My dad got a bald head, and they kind of look alike now. But shout out to Clyde.
I know you played a pivotal role. You revolutionized that stretch 4 type position, and he got 7 championships, but he played a key role in each championship, and especially with the buzzer beaters and the go-ahead shots and everything. What goes through your head? When you're shooting?
I always laugh when I see guys, especially talk about how they were the ones that started small ball. And if you go back to 95, we were the ones that started small ball because Charles Barkley was killing us. Think about this. I'm gonna name 2 guys you probably don't know who they are: Pete Chilcutt and Chucky Brown. Those are
Chucky Brown.
those are starting power forwards.
Pete
They had to
Chilcutt.
played in North Carolina, white guy.
This name sound like he was.
So we playing and we go down 3-1 to Phoenix Suns, and they like, well, we need someone to guard Barkley. Rob, you get it. And so they put me on him. And so I changed the whole game up where he had to come out and guard me. And people forget in 95, they moved the 3-point line in.
What?
Yeah, the 3-point line was moved in 95. So you don't even know that. It's just NBA were trying different things. So they moved the 3-point line in, was knocking down threes, doing a lot of different things. So it was. So I'm the one that really started small ball, to be honest with you, man. But everybody can take credit for it. But it happened in 95 when they moved me to power forward in the second round to play the Phoenix Suns. So the next round had Dennis Rodman. He wasn't going to leave the paint, so he was jaying him up. Then the next round was Horace Grant. Then I was jaying him up, you know. So yeah, 95. Yeah.
All right, I got 2 more questions for you. That's it. I'm gonna show you this. Hall of Fame. I think Amari Stoudemire. Congrats to Amari Stoudemire getting in.
Yes, that.
They're talking about Draymond, probability. Draymond, is he a role player, right?
You know, to me, role players are everybody. Your role was to block shots, score, right? My role player was to do whatever it takes for a team to win. It's like everybody wants to say, okay, role player. Steph Curry's role is to fucking knock down shots. To me, everybody has a role.
Everybody got a role.
If you don't do your role, you don't win.
Yeah.
And so I know they want to say that you was a role player. I don't define myself as a role player. I define myself as a specialist. Because it takes a special person to take a back seat to the superstars. It takes a special person to know that my superstar can't dive on the floor, so I'm gonna dive on the floor. I know it takes a specialist to say, oh, my big dog ain't gonna go to these charity events. The team won't. I gotta go do that. So it's it's just the little things like that that put you in a special mind frame. So to me, if you go back, there are a lot of role players in the Hall of Fame. So
So it's crazy when you look it up, you see it. Greatest role players ever. Robert Horry, Dennis Rodman, Draymond Green, Manu Ginobili, Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, Danny Green.
It's
Ben
funny
Wallace,
they put Klay
John
Thompson on that.
Klay Thompson. But I guess they're saying that because they got Steph as the main guy.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't think Manu, Klay, or Andre Iguodala should be, because Andre Iguodala was a star.
He was a star in Philly, but when he went to Golden State, he came to 6-man.
But he won Finals MVP.
Because he changed his own role. That's what we're saying. We all know everybody.
No disrespect to Iggy. We all know that should have been Steph's MVP.
Steph was so hot.
No, because his thing, back to the Orlando series, they came to me in the Orlando series and said, oh, you might win MVP because of what I did in that series. I averaged 20 and 10 in that series, right? Yeah. I'm like, fucking, I appreciate it, but Dream is the MVP. You think about how we got here. He got to game 40 against Utah in game 5. And so many things I think they look at, and that goes to show you how much LeBron has respect. Because they saw what Iggy did against LeBron. Oh, he deserves MVP. Iggy didn't do games, series 1, 2, or 3. It was Steph that did 1, 2, and 3 that got in there. So you just don't look at what you did in the finals, And I love Iggy to death. He's one of my favorite players because of what he had to do, to change his game and make them successful. And I value that. But that was Steph's MVP. It was. You ever see the clip of when they announced it? Steph like. Did you see it?
So
is that worse than the Jason Tatum one?
Steph was on there looking like.
And
that was like the Jason Tatum one with Jaylen Brown won it.
That's not a dig at Iggy.
No, for sure.
That just goes to show you how much people value what LeBron brings to the game. And
And then the last question, because I thought you was in the Hall of Fame. Right. So I was like, what the hell? And I thought you made an All-Star team. So you said you didn't get all defense. So I'm looking at this, right? Kyle Korver, 2014, he averaged 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He made the All-Star team. Draymond Green, 1 year, averaged 7 points, 7 rebounds. He made the All-Star team. Dennis Rodman, 8 points, 9 rebounds, made the All-Star team. You averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.1 blocks. What do you think is the reason? 7 championships. What do you think is the reason you get snubbed from?
Well, I think
accolades?
it has a lot to do with, later in my career, I wasn't scoring a lot, and so everybody based on scoring. And I also think about the people I play with. I didn't play with stars. I played with fucking mega stars. So you get outshined. If you go back and look at my first 4 years in the league, think about it. Finals MVP, and Defensive Player of the Year all in 1 year. That star is too bright. You think about our team. I think we one of the top teams. I think like 2 or 3 teams that you think about. That '94 team.
Yeah.
We had one All-Star and we won the NBA championship. When has that ever happened? Think about it. I think with Denver maybe with Jokic, but other than that.
Oh yeah, and Giannis.
Yeah, and think about that. It's just amazing. But I would lock up people, and I kid around with Mitch Richmond one time. We fourth quarter roll around. Mitch has like 38 on us. He ends the game with 42 because I shut his ass down. I'm like, and it's little things like that, that don't overlook because you got dream. And I just said, if you put, social media in that era, and I get someone to hype me up like they do their players now,
narrative.
I would have made it. Because think about it, I had 100 blocks and 100 steals in a
You're supposed to
season.
make it.
And I don't make it?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You started on NBA Jams.
Because even what you sound like, you got think, if you look at the
messed up.
Draymond situation with the 7 points, it's like you got Curry averaging 30, Klay Thompson 25.
He couldn't have been no role player. He had to have been a star. Only stars get put on NBA Jams. That's a fact. It's the truth. Everybody wasn't on there. It was only Vernon, Elijah One, and Robert Horry on NBA Jams. Man, shout out to Big Shot Robert Horry for coming on the show Above the Rim with Dwight Howard. Y'all just got finished watching another great episode of Above the Rim with Dwight Howard. And I'm here with my partner in crime. He moved and he real. Just like that.
And we got the Will Smith doppelganger.
We got the Will Smith doppelganger over here to our left.
that happened in '95 when they put my picture up next to him, and after that it was a wrap. Yeah.
You just seen the greatest podcast ever, where we hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil. Peace, love, and happiness, and we'll see you guys soon.